So really big deal. She has one of the busier schedules, fighting for everyone in the most vulnerable population. So her taking her time out of her busy schedule, Bo, is seriously amazing. All right, welcome to Bright Minded Live with Miley. Happy Thursday, everyone. I mentioned on Monday's good news that governments around the world were starting to consider lifting. Hold on, I want to start over. And if you guys noticed, yes, I put on clothes. Elizabeth Warren's here today, trying to keep it professional. Everybody, welcome back to Bright Minded. Happy Thursday. I mentioned on Monday's good news that governments around the world were starting to consider lifting or updating some restrictions. So I mentioned on Monday's good news that governments around the world were starting to consider lifting or updating some restrictions. I wanted to give some updates on that progress since then, especially since today is Policy Day on Bright Minded, and it's good for all of us to know what political leaders around the world are planning. I mentioned that in LA, stay-at-home orders have been extended to May 15th already, and just this morning, Governor Cuomo announced the same for New York State. So these orders are meant to continue slowing the spread of the virus, and even though we're making progress in flattening the curve, we still have a long way to go in making sure that those numbers go down, and we want them to stay down. Also this week, governors on the East Coast and the West Coast announced that they would be working together to figure out how best they start getting everyone back towards normal life, what the new normal is. It's so important to see that state and local leaders are working together because that's how the best change will happen. When everyone is working towards that same goal and is sharing the best information and resources to get there. States are also starting to share ventilators and send them to the highest need areas in New York, New Jersey, New Orleans. Another example of how local leaders are supporting each other during this time and how we're staying united. I want to give a very special shout out to our California governor, Governor Newsom, who was super straightforward and real with us this week. He was talking about what normal life could look like. And it won't really be our normal. It's that, some restaurants may have fewer tables to give people more space, or maybe the menus will need to be disposable, or people will, still be wearing masks for a while. So I'm grateful for his leadership, and that means being honest and being upfront with us, and so that we can actually process what our new normal will be like and how that will still be different to what we had before. And globally in Germany, Angela Merkel, who by the way is a physicist by training, so comes from a science background, announced a step-by-step plan to lift some of the restrictions gradually. She worked on this plan with local governors and based on recommendations from economic and scientific experts. So many countries will be watching to see how the plan gets put into place and if it can be an example for other countries to follow. And this week, we also have been highlighting our local heroes, which have been submitted using hashtag highlighting heroes. This first one, I've loved seeing the submissions. I want to share a few today. This first one is from Charlotte. After a super scary week, I am mega proud of my mom for beating the virus's butt, then returning to work today, ready to work 12-hour shifts all over Easter weekend and with a smile. That's girl power. Thank you, Charlotte, and thank you to your mom, who is a healthcare hero. We have another healthcare hero from Starlin, who said her hero is her sister-in-law, Sam, who is a nurse at Kootenai Medical Center in Idaho. Thank you so much. I know we've talked a lot about the impact of the virus in big cities like New York and New Orleans, but what a lot of people may not know is that places like Sun Valley, Idaho have really high infection rates, which experts are saying may be due to the fact that it's a popular tourist spot, but it's especially dangerous with smaller towns. Smaller town means smaller hospital systems, and medical resources can quickly be overwhelmed. So a big special thanks to our healthcare heroes in Idaho and more rural parts of our country. And now we're going from Idaho all the way to France for a hero submitted by Lauriane de Sousa, and was written that I'd like to highlight my local hero my neighbor. She's a nurse in her early 20s, caring daily for patients ill with COVID-19 here in France, which now has more than 17,000 deaths since the beginning of the pandemic. Every morning around 5 or 6 a.m. while it's still dark outside, I hear her car leaving for the hospital to help all the people in need. As a matter of fact, not only is she exposing herself to the virus, but jeopardizing her own health and the health of her 50-year-old parents who she lives with. So she's one of the heroes on the front line daily, saving lives and making sure that our normal lives will be back ASAP. I truly admire her and could not be prouder of her. She's only 4 years older than me, and at such a young age, she's strong enough mentally and physically to help all these people on a daily basis, no matter how hard it is. And I'm glad I got to grow up with someone like her, as brave as her, who is working hard to make a difference in this world and act to make it a better place. The woman she became today inspires me a lot. So thank you, Lorianne. She inspires us too. And please tell your neighbor thank you from all of us around the world. Last one for today is Sophie Griffiths, who wanted to highlight Tom Moore in the UK, this is so cool, this is my favorite one probably, who is walking 100 laps of his garden before his 100th birthday on April 30th. He has so far raised 12 million British pounds for the NHS in the UK, and Sophie would love for him to get more worldwide publicity for his amazing actions. She says that he shows age has no limit. Tom, you are amazing. I hope everyone goes to look him up and donate to his fundraiser. There's still time to send in your heroes, so use hashtag highlighting heroes, and I want to thank everyone who has submitted their hero so far. Bo is totally snoring. Thank you all so much. Make sure you continue to submit heroes to hashtag highlighting heroes. There is no intro that I could do today that would express my admiration for my guest, who has spent her life fighting for the issues we've been talking about this week. Access to healthcare, economic security so Americans don't have to worry about how they're going to eat, and making sure the most at-risk populations don't get left behind. She grew up in Oklahoma and then worked as a teacher, a lawyer, and professor. After Wall Street crashed our economy in 2008, she fought to create the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau to protect families across the country. She has been Massachusetts Senator since 2013 and is one of my personal heroes. I am honored to have Senator Elizabeth Warren on the show today. So we'll be coming back at 11:45 with Senator Elizabeth Warren. See you then.